So here's a story that just dropped, and honestly, it's a real head-scratcher. Just when a ceasefire between the US and Iran was about to expire, it suddenly got extended, indefinitely. And the country that brokered the deal? You might guess Switzerland, maybe Norway? Nope. It was Pakistan. Yeah, that Pakistan. And look, this isn't just some rumor floating around. We've got Donald Trump himself on his own platform, Truth Social, spelling it out for everyone. He gives a direct shout out to Pakistan's top brass. I mean, this was a total bombshell. It took a country that's, let's be honest, often in the headlines for the wrong reasons, and put it smack dab in the middle of a massive global negotiation. Which brings us to the million-dollar question, right? How? How on earth did Pakistan, a country juggling its own, pretty serious economic and political issues, suddenly become the go-between for two arch enemies, like the US and Iran? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack here. So we're going to look at the ceasefire itself, how Pakistan pulled this off, what they get out of it, the huge risks they're taking, and of course, what this all means for their neighbor, India. So let's get into the how. How did Pakistan manage to become what some are calling the adult in the room? Well, it's not something that happened overnight. This is all about a really delicate balancing act, a diplomatic game they've been playing for, honestly, decades. And this really gets right to the core of it. On the one hand, you've got their super close ties with Washington. We're talking decades of military and economic cooperation. But on the other hand, they've somehow built up this incredible trust with Tehran. Experts are saying that Iran just didn't trust the usual suspects, places like Geneva or Vienna for these talks. Pakistan was literally the only place both sides could actually agree on. That's huge. And like I said, that trust didn't just appear out of nowhere. I mean, look at this timeline. It shows they've been playing the long game. This goes all the way back to 1979, with their embassy in Washington actually representing Iran's interests. Then you fast forward to today, and you see their army chief visiting the White House. You see them backing Tehran diplomatically against Israel. All of these moves were bricks in the foundation for this moment. It's just like former Ambassador Zamir Akram said, this role did not come out of the blue. This wasn't some fluke. It was a strategy decades in the making. And now their whole job is to find a way for both the US and Iran to walk away from this feeling like they got an honorable exit. Okay, so that's the how. But what about the why? I mean, why would Pakistan stick its neck out like this? It's a huge risk. The answer is, it's a massive strategic gamble with a potentially massive payoff. They're desperately trying to flip the script on how the world sees them, and frankly, save their economy. The main goal here is what you could call recasting their diplomatic standing. Think about it. For so long, the international view of Pakistan has been, as a problem child or a struggling economy. This move is a very deliberate attempt to rebrand. They want to be seen as a responsible, key player on the world stage, a country you invest in, not one you just fret about. And if you want to know just how badly they need this rebranding, well, this number tells the whole story. $3 billion. That's an emergency loan they just had to get from Saudi Arabia to basically keep the lights on. Their economy is always on a knife's edge. So for the leaders in Islamabad, their diplomatic power is one of the only real chips they have to play to bring in the cash they so desperately need. But look, if this works, the payoff could be absolutely huge. We're talking about a major boost in global credibility, which hopefully for them means foreign investment starts pouring in. It's a classic move. Use your military and diplomatic muscle to make up for your economic weak spots. Plus, a stable region is good for their own energy supplies. So yeah, high risk, but definitely high reward. Which, of course, brings us to the flip side. This is a massive gamble, and there's no guarantee it pays off. And if it all goes south, well, the consequences could be really, really serious. So you gotta ask the question, right? What happens if these talks just completely blow up? Because Pakistan has put itself right in the blast radius. This is the tightrope they're on. If it fails, you can bet the international community will be pointing fingers right at them. Domestically, they're already getting accused of just being a puppet for the US, which is a really dangerous thing to say in a country with strong anti-American feelings. And here's the crazy part. Even if they succeed, it makes the army chief incredibly powerful, which, has its own very tricky implications for democracy in Pakistan. All right, so let's zoom out a bit. How is all this playing out across the border in India? For New Delhi, this whole situation is, well, it's complicated and kind of contradictory. You can really see the two sides of the coin here. In the short term, it's actually pretty good news for India. A calmer Middle East means a more stable region, and that helps everybody. But long-term, that's where the concern kicks in for folks in New Delhi. A Pakistan that's suddenly a diplomatic powerhouse with a military that's getting pats on the back from the whole world, that is a very, very different strategic problem for them. And that worry comes from a long history between the two. Historically, whenever Pakistan has made moves toward peace with India, it's usually been when the civilian government was in charge. This time, the success is being driven by the military, and that could empower an institution that, well, let's just say it hasn't always been friendly toward India. So to wrap this whole crazy story up, step 1, the absolute shock of a US-Iran ceasefire brokered by Pakistan. Step 2, the how. They played their unique connections to both sides perfectly. Step 3, the why. It's a huge gamble to change their global image and save their economy. And step 4, the stakes. It's a super risky move for Pakistan, and it completely changes the game for its neighbor, India. And so we're left with this one massive question. By jumping into the role of peacemaker, has Pakistan just pulled off a brilliant move to secure its future? Or has it just painted a giant target on its own back and placed itself in the center of the next huge global conflict? I guess we'll have to wait and see.